Firefighters in Oxfordshire are on standby to deliver school meals as the ripple effects of the collapse of the firm Carillion is continuing to be felt.
Questions continue to be asked about the government, who continue to give the construction firm contracts despite knowing its financial situation. We're joined by the Daily Mail's Andrew Pierce, Kevin Maguire from Daily Mirror. Good morning to you, Chuck.
Good morning.
Am I mistaken? And do I go to bed watching you two on a rival network, and then I see you literally hours later?
Are you ever in your newspaper?
You're the hardest
offices?
working men in newspaper.
No, you're a long time dead. I mean, it's best to work.
You're racing towards it, you two.
I can imagine that school kids in Oxfordshire this morning are pretty excited about the fact that firefighters might be delivering their meals. But it's not probably how that contract was supposed to work out. So, who's at fault here?
Well, the government are being criticised in some quarters because they gave 7 or 8 new contracts to Carillion despite the profit warning, and it was a very severe profit warning.
Can I ask one thing on that point? George Osborne's Evening Standard said yesterday that it was civil servants who signed off on all this, and he was making clearly a very big point that as a former Chancellor, that actually the way this often works in these situations is it's not government ministers, it's the civil servants. Is that true?
Well, when it's a contract the size of HS2, which is $1.5 billion, I can't believe a minister wouldn't be involved in that.
He set the policy that PFI, the Private Finance Initiative, was a policy started by the John Major Conservative government in 1992. Labour expanded it, then George Osborne and the Conservatives, when he was Chancellor, kept it going. He's got to take some responsibility for that policy. It used to be the case that local authorities, Oxfordshire County Council, would do its own school meals. It would employ workers to do it. But they're now privatised, contracted out to a company like Carillion, which is really into construction, and it's gone as a sideline into these services, and it can't deliver. So now the public sector, through Oxfordshire County Council, lots of councils all over the country, are having to pick up the pieces for a private sector failure.
Here's the key thing, Andrew. Obviously, the poor workers that work there are number one victims here. But the secondary victims, of course, as the Times points out, it's the taxpayers now facing a bill of hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds for the collapse of this company. In the end, who is to blame here?
Well, I think ministers have to take... The buck stops with ministers in the end. I think it has to. But you can see why they continue to give contracts to Carillion after the profit warning, because their fear would be, God, this company could go bust. Give them more work, because that will stop the drain on the taxpayers.
Well, and also
it will stop people losing their jobs.
Confidence in a company which is supporting lots of contracts.
Why would you throw good money after bad?
Exactly. And it's going under this company. It's been badly run. It's got some contracts really wrong. A hospital in Birmingham, a hospital in Liverpool, a road up in Aberdeen. It's been making speculative ventures in the Middle East.
Did they get greedy, Carillion's bosses?
I think they did.
$1.5 million, the boss. The former boss has gone, still getting £55,000 a week.
That's a scandal.
I mean, look.
The bonuses.
It's because the employees who paid very little might lose their jobs and will get a little bit of redundancy money, but the chief executives who took the decisions are still being paid £55,000 a month.
Where's Chris Grayling in all this?
Hiding again. Now, like, this is somebody who has allowed Richard Branson and Stagecoach Brian Suter on the Virgin East Coast, the line that goes from London up to Leeds, Newcastle, Edinburgh and so on, get away with £2 billion they were going to pay the taxpayer. £2 billion. He said you don't have to pay it now. He's been awarding these HS2 contracts. Where is he? Where is the tall, thin Tory controller? He hides whenever there's a difficulty.
Well, I tell you what, we always ask Chris Grayling to come on here and defend himself. He doesn't.
Tell him. When they don't come on, that is telling. When they won't front up.
Before Maguire gets very excited about taking everything back into the public sector, let's just remember the public sector don't always do projects very well. Do you remember the NHS IT project under Gordon Brown's government? Scrapped, and it cost £12 billion because the state is no good at running things.
It went to the public sector. Sorry, it went from the public sector to the private sector. Now, you can't do all your contracts in-house. It's not. It's not public sector good, private sector bad. But there are some things you are better doing in-house. And there's lots of hospitals that are PFI deals that are crippling the NHS. Same with schools. And you'll get academy trusts, not just local authorities.
Who brought PFI deals in?
It was brought in by the Conservatives. Labour should have scrapped it.
Massively expanded by Brown and Blair.
Absolutely. I was the one criticising at the time. You were cheering it when it was being expanded. I was the one criticising Labour. You liked it.